Actually, don't need that. All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to EVTN News. I just wanted to try that out here. So, okay. Today, we have some news stories. I'm going to try this out a little bit because we have some other news stories. I like to do a video clip. Let's see. All right. So we got some banners here, and I'm maybe gonna, I don't know. This is kind of, as you can see, it's free by StreamYard, but I want to do a video clip later on. Of course, it's a lot easier to actually just do the stream the way I usually do it. So, okay. Let's start out on some stories. And with this, maybe I'll find out, I mean, it takes a while to set up this type of setup, but if I can share video links, then, or not video links, just hyperlinks, although you can see the hyperlinks in the description of the video, of this video. But if I can share like hyperlinks and news stories and just go to the pages, maybe that would give some stories more context. But again, it takes a little bit of upfront work, so not sure if I'm willing to put that in or not. It'd be kind of neat, but a lot of effort, and yeah, don't really make much money. All right, let's start out. So Ed Penton sells Cardinal Pizzaballa as a papal candidate on National Catholic Register. Pizzaballa was born in 1965, so that would make him, what, 58 years old or so, in near Bergamo, Italy. He has lived as a Franciscan in the Holy Land for 34 years. He was appointed cardinal last summer. And of course, he's been in the news because he's a cardinal near the Holy Land, and there's been a lot of conflict recently. I mean, of course, not just recently, but recently they've been in the news a lot. For Penton, the cardinal is obviously the ideal successor to Francis. He's a finely balanced peacemaker in the Israeli-Palestinian war with a little more sympathy for the Palestinian people. So, yeah, take that as you will. And Father David Newhouse, S.J., said that Pizzaballa has no problem with the traditional Mass, but he carefully follows the instructions of the Holy See. Pizzaballa is immersed in the diversity of rites within the Catholic Church: Latin, Byzantine, Maronite, Syriac, Armenian. So, which is nice. I mean, it's nice to have the exposure to all of those. So he would, I mean, right off the bat, like, if your only exposure is to the Novus Ordo, then you're already coming at it from a kind of a modernist perspective, unfortunately. But if you can see the different rites and how they compare and contrast, then yeah, it gives you a better perspective. So there's one guy's name to be thrown in the fire. And of course, a relevant cardinal is always someone who this group of cardinals would, what would I say, gravitate towards: relevance. So before, it might have, you know, even just several months ago, maybe someone from Ukraine. Just throwing that out there, you know, because he was relevant. But now someone from Jerusalem, that's certainly a possibility. Okay, since March 19th, Bishop Vitus Helander has been hospitalized in Chur, Switzerland with serious health problems. Following his retirement as Bishop of Chur in 2019, Bishop Helander has resided at the Institut Sancta Maria, a boarding school for boys operated by the Society of St. Pius X, in Wangs in the St. Gallen canton. So, I mean, he is in Switzerland, and Switzerland's had some crazy stuff go on. Of course, St. Gallen That would be the group that conspired to elect Bergoglio as Pope. So, but he's in the SSPX, so clearly not on Team Francis necessarily. Although Francis told him that the SSPX was in communion with the Catholic Church, so I don't know. Okay, Archbishop Luke Terlinden, age 55, of Mechelen, Brussels, Belgium, has stripped the Don Bosco Church in Buzingen of its parish status because of its Eucharists, which, according to Terlinden, are presided over by a woman. So a woman saying Mass, which is why the parish lost its status. Diocesan statement issued on March 20th said the move came after 18 months of talks that revealed major differences, mainly over the vision of the presidency of the Novus Ordo Sacraments. So the presiders of the Novus Ordo Sacraments. Because of the fundamental nature of the divergent positions, the former parish will in the future be an independent religious organization, aka sect, the diocesan statement said. I didn't use the word sect, but I did, and Gloria TV did. According to Terlinden, the parish was known for far-reaching innovations, otherwise known as apostasies, in the field of liturgy and sacraments. So this parish was so radical. But you just think about it. If Francis continues to move further and further along as he has been doing, in a year, would this be a problem? Sad to think about. And if you're in the live stream, leave me a comment. Let me know what you think about this stuff. All right, Joe Biden, an alleged Catholic, announced on Good Friday that the White House would celebrate Easter Sunday as Gender Misidentification Day of Visibility. Substitute the code word, and you get what I'm saying. Now, of course, I think it was March 31st, so it is always this day of visibility for those who misidentify their gender. And so, I don't know. That's what people are saying. Oh, well, it's always that day. Well, it just so happens to be Easter Sunday, and they're celebrating their religious holiday. At the same time, children of the National Guard were prohibited from submitting religious Easter egg designs for the 2024 Celebrating National Guard Families art event at the White House. So they're supposed to design Easter eggs, and they weren't allowed to do religious designs. I doubt this policy applied to Mohammedans and the perfidious Jews. Oh, I said that. I need to cut that. All right. Anyway. Okay. So, for Bishop Georg Batzing of Limburg, Germany, the president of the German Bishops' Conference, it would be wonderful to ordain deaconesses invalidly. He told a website that invalid ordinations do not distort the nature of the church. Asked if he would ordain priestesses, Monsignor Batzing replied, "I don't dare to think about it, but I would be delighted if I could ordain a deaconess invalidly." For Batzing, this would be a first step that we could implement very quickly. He didn't think about it, but he did think about it. Okay. All right, so, and I gotta cover this carefully, because this next story carefully, because I don't know all the details. So Francis voted for Cardinal Ratzinger in the 2005 conclave as a transitional pope, he says in the interview book, The Successor, to be published on April 3rd. So that would be, Wednesday? Excerpts were published on Easter, March 31st, by its Spanish daily ABC, Francis said he was used by other cardinals who tried to block Ratzinger's election. Although cardinals take an oath to maintain strict secrecy about everything related to the election, both during and after the conclave, it was reported that Bergoglio came second in the final ballot. Now Francis is one of those breaking their oath, so he's illegally talking about it. Now, I guess that really comes down to, do popes respect the traditions of the church? And for Francis, obviously, the answer is no. And I don't know, does the Pope have supreme power to make up his own roles and redefine everything and anything? Well, he just did. He chattered that the group of cardinals had engaged in a full-blown maneuver by putting his name forward to block Ratzinger's election and then negotiate for another third candidate. So they wanted to just continuously block Ratzinger's election and try to get another candidate. He said he had won 40 of the 115 votes of the cardinal electors in the Sistine Chapel, enough to stop the candidacy of Cardinal Joseph Ratzinger, because if they had continued to vote for me, he would not have been able to reach the 2/3 majority needed to be elected Pope. They still did not agree on who, but they were close to putting forward a name. So he talks about the strategy of the conclave, and he just completely discloses it, disregarding the secrecy that is required. So he's setting a pretty terrible standard, which, I mean, he's been, in all fairness, he's been doing that for his entire papacy, setting a very poor standard for the rest of the future. Yeah. So I don't know that I have much else on that. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, you and me both. Okay. Well, this video is probably going to get shut down quick anyway, because I said the perfidious J's. Anyway. Yeah, and you were here if you were on the live stream, you saw it, and then you won't see it when the video's removed for whatever. All right, so now I want to I'm going to do a video clip. I'm going to share with the excuse me, I'm going to share with you a video clip and do some commentary, but then I'm going to cut this part and have it as its own standalone video. So if you see it now, you won't see it. I mean, you won't have to watch it later. Not that anyone is forcing anyone to watch anything. But let's see if we can pull it up. Okay. Oh. Now I'll just give you my comments. Oh, come on. All right. So this is the Cathedral of Superior. Oh, hold on. This is the Cathedral of Superior, Wisconsin, the Chrism Mass. It was celebrated on March 19th, which is St. Joseph's Day, but that is the Tuesday before Palm Sunday. So I believe the Chrism Mass is supposed to be celebrated on Holy Thursday. And in most dioceses, especially in the United States, that's definitely possible for all the priests to drive to the cathedral, because it's a very short distance, maybe a few hour drive. So really, it's very feasible that it's very feasible that most priests can make it. But as you'll see, I think the priests would have wanted to skip this. So you can see this guy with the drum. Superior, Wisconsin, I mean, probably, you know, what they would call indigenous people, and it doesn't really get any better from here. So this was before the mass started. Okay, so like I don't understand the point. Like, are they trying to do this to be inclusive? Are they trying to do this with the spirit of Vatican II? Just Sacrosanctum Concilium says something about enculturating a liturgy. And how many of these people here at this Chrism Mass are so-called indigenous? Oh, there you go. There's a woman with some feathers. I don't know where she came from. Probably, I don't know. There's probably a door to the sacristy in the back, so she probably, yeah, sacristy. And I don't know. I'm sure I'm gonna be accused by a lot of people of being a racist. So, now are both of these women on the altar? So that, standing, like a sort of altar table. But are both of these women are they just white women, or are they so-called indigenous people? Are they from a tribe, or are they just dressing up and spinning around and holding feathers and just kind of walking around and wandering? That woman walking up the aisle, are there two women, or is there one? There's someone with a headdress in the back, some kind of feather in their hat or something. As they come closer, we'll see what it actually is. All right, this is boring. Let me see if I can fast forward it. Okay, so all right, so some of these people are definitely like just random people that are just doing this pagan ceremony. And then you can't really hear. Someone says something. Everyone stands. He said we face the east. And the one lady's confused. Okay. Okay, face the south. And they're asking about stuff. Okay, so this guy, I'm not even going to continue. Hopefully, I don't know. Maybe the diocese will delete the video. Maybe they won't. But I'll post a link in the description and in this breakout video so that you can kind of see for yourself and see what you think about it. Now, clearly, like, this is a pagan ritual. It's sort of like an like friendly thing, and they talk about the creator. But what place does this have in a Catholic church? I mean, come on. Like, of course, I go to Latin Mass, I'll never see this. But this is not appropriate. And moreover, it has some pagan elements to it. Why would you even consider having this? And then, all right, so I think we're done. I think I'm done with this. And they do more pagan stuff. Let's see if there's anything noteworthy. No, they're just marching around. Okay. And I don't want anyone to tell me that this is how... I don't want anyone to tell me this is okay. Because people have told me that in the past on some of my other videos. Like, oh, why are you being so mean? Like, you know, this is how these people worship. No, it's not. No, you need, like... You know, there were people that were martyred for the faith, and they said the Latin Mass. Actually, most of the Catholic tradition, most of church history, Roman church history, was basically the Latin Mass. And these people were martyred for the faith because they were telling these types of people, these tribes, to abandon their pagan traditions and to embrace the Catholic faith. Okay. All right, and all these people are accomplices. All these lay people that didn't walk out of this ridiculous ceremony. And they just wasted, let me look, about 9 minutes of everyone's time. They wasted 9 minutes doing this pagan ceremony, and then all of a sudden, the Knights of Columbus, actually, you can see the Knights of Columbus processing up. They must have been really bored. But because they started processing up immediately. And all the priests that are there, they are accomplices of this pagan ritual. So what do you do? What do you do if you're a layperson in this diocese that just had a pagan ritual during the Chrism Mass? Really? All right, so that's it for the video. Okay. I'm going to stop this. Okay. I'm not even sure if I can say your username and get banned, but like, what do you guys think about this pagan ritual? You think that's appropriate for a mass? A Chrism Mass, even in the sort of Chrism Mass, I mean, that's kind of over the top even for that. I think, excuse me, I think Taylor Marshall and Kennedy Hall had an interesting discussion about that, about Chrism Mass, and like oh no, concelebration. Okay. Read the message of La Salette. Yes, I think I will. It's an interesting apparition, and something that, you know, I think there were 2 apparitions from France that were approved by the Vatican. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong. It was Lourdes and La Salette, and of course Lourdes receives a lion's share of the attention. And, you know, not that it was a bad apparition, but La Salette receives, I don't know, would you say like 90-10? Not even. Probably, you know, I think Lourdes receives 95% of the notoriety, and La Salette maybe 5%. And how many Catholics even have heard about La Salette, whereas a lot of Catholics have heard of Lourdes? So not that Lourdes is a bad thing at all. There's definitely been many healings, numerous. I don't even know, maybe it's in the hundreds. I think that's right. I mean, Lourdes, rightfully so, deserves a lot of attention, but La Salette also occurred in France. So people on a pilgrimage to Lourdes, I think they should consider going to La Salette as well, if time permits. I think it would. Oh, St. Catherine Labouré. Now, was she the miraculous medal person? The miraculous medal saint? I think that's what lots of significance in France. It was also was it Sister Mary Peter of the Holy Face devotion? I think she was from France as well. I think lots of saints in France. France was once a very Catholic country. They still are. Okay. Still, yeah. StreamYard's a fun website to use here. Yes. Yeah, France it was a very Catholic country. I think it still is. But yeah. Okay. So, do I have anything else? I don't know. What do you think about Pope Francis kind of confirming some information? Because, I guess let me react a little bit to the Francis stuff. So yeah, he disclosed that he was like in second place in the Benedict in the Benedict election, in the Benedict papal conclave. And I was actually skeptical of that for the longest time, because I didn't, I don't know, but that sets the standard for people to leak information very badly. So I think the next papal conclave, especially, and the same thing for like the synod. The synod was sort of like, they said, oh, we're going to have some secrecy, or they're going to be, the participants of the synod are going to be bound to secrecy. But the National Catholic Distorter had an entire team there to cover the 4-week event. So, of course, they were getting some information fed to them, no question. Otherwise, they wouldn't have sent I think they sent 5 employees there. So otherwise, I don't think they would have sent them there. And I think with the papal conclave, I mean, I hope it's soon. Really, we need another pope. It's just this one's worn out his welcome, as we're just sick. We're just the Jays, the perfidious Jays. Yeah, I slipped a little bit. We'll see what happens. It's kind of inconvenient. kind of inconvenient. I see there are a lot of people on the live stream, so you heard it. And if you reverse the video, yeah. But if you reverse the video, you'll see what I said. But I will try to do that video clip of the pagan ceremony. I'll see how it works out. Maybe I'll just post it without comment, because some of the people are just really, really unhappy with my commentary. I don't know. I do know. It was hilarious. It's so funny how many people will criticize me because of my thoughts on the terrible masses in Chicago, like the illicit masses. Father Flager, he does this preacher this preacher mass where he does nothing Catholic. I mean, he sort of does certain things that are part of the Novus Ordo, but then he freestyles all his prayers, and there's just the consecration is valid. But everything else is not. Everything else is just completely insane. And I was commenting on that, and a lot of people are kind of like, I don't know, I've got a lot of like hippies that really don't seem to understand the Catholic faith, but they're like, oh, just because you don't like it doesn't mean that other people don't. No, it's not Catholic. Like, he needs to stop, but his like Supich isn't going to tell him to stop. So that's why I'm calling it out on YouTube, because we're posting this nonsense so that for everyone to see it. And the same with the same with the one church where the priest, remember the priest who did a guitar blessing, and then they had a really crazy Pentecost mass. It was just insane, and people were calling me out for that as well. And or I don't know, I wouldn't say calling me out is the right word, because I don't like, it doesn't matter to me, but they were criticizing me for not being so inclusive and all this stuff. And no, like, no, I'm not going to deal with it. I think I had an atheist comment on it and say, this is why I left the church. Like, well, you were going to leave the church anyway because your politics are your religion. That's why you left. Because your politics are your religion. That's why you left. Nothing was going to keep you in the church, even if you had Francis, who was saying like LMNOPs can be blessed and like women might be deacons and all this stuff. Oh, is that true? Pizzaballa is involved in a lawsuit in California, accused of money laundering involving loans with the American University in Jordan. He's a Francis Cardinal all the way. Well, see, and this is the information I don't know. Ed Penton seems to like him. And just based on recent politics, I think cardinals can boost their status. What's his name? Cardinal Basungu from Africa. He was the one who rejected the LMNOP document, but because of the cultural impact that it would have in Africa, not because it's contradictory to the Catholic faith. Okay. So I don't know. I don't know these things. I don't really have an opinion on Pizzaballa. I don't know his background. Oh, yes. Here's a good story. Cardinal Mueller thinks that Biden should be excommunicated. He called on the USCCB to excommunicate Biden. I didn't report that story today, so I wanted to get that out there. So if Strickland were still a bishop of a diocese, maybe he would have more of an impact. But Strickland isn't, what would I say? Strickland isn't banned from the USCCB meetings. He could go in there and make some public comments, although they'd probably try to rig it so he wouldn't be allowed to speak. But that's an interesting, like, that's an interesting scenario, or an interesting consideration, as if Bishop Strickland would go to one of the USCCB meetings. Would they let him speak? They don't really care. They don't really seem to have a strong inclination towards Catholics. Francis tells great conclave jokes. Well, and that's another thing, is that I don't know if what Francis is saying is 100% true. I don't know. I mean, remember when Vigano said that Francis knew about McCarrick? And then Francis was asked about it, and he said, I will not say one word. And I think after that, he started criticizing the great accuser and how the people who accuse are cousins of the devil. Then I think a year later, he admitted something. although I don't quite remember. But if you look also at McCarrick, and I said this before, and you've heard it here, and Strickland recently brought it up shortly after he was kicked out, is that who has faced consequences for being associated with McCarrick? Cardinal Wuerl, and literally no one else. One person got sort of in trouble, but Wuerl's living the high life in retirement. So he wasn't even retired. He was sent to the Vatican and then he retired. And that was it. And the Vatican undermined the USCCB's initiative to investigate McCarrick. But the ones who were associated with McCarrick never faced any consequences, nor do we even know who they are. Because if we knew who they were, then they would face consequences because we'd force their hand, just like all of the other Francis friends, like Rupnik and Zanchetta. He has some really strange friends. But we don't even know. Of course, Vigano says that Cupich, Tobin, Wuerl, McElroy are all friends of McCarrick. And they've all received promotions because of McCarrick. And whether that's true or not, look who's receiving promotions. Look who are, becoming the most powerful cardinals in the United States Francis Church. Okay. Yeah, it makes no sense. Anyway, okay. I think that's all I have. So, I also just recorded another book review. Oh, McCarrick's incompetent. It was declared in a Wisconsin court. And you know what else has happened in Wisconsin? That pagan ceremony. So, okay. Yeah, I just recorded another book review, so I've been going through some really good books. I hope that you consider reading some of them. Okay, until next time, this has been EVTN News. Wait, let me do this. Actually, I can't. I cannot do this. I wish I had the music. Oh, I might. Hold on, let me see. I wonder, can I share audio? No, I can't. I can't share audio. That'd be cool to have like the outro music for EVTN News. I mean, I'm sure I could if I really looked into this program. I think I like doing I like doing my other live stream because it's easier. But no, this is kind of a nice change of pace because I figured I'd knock out two birds with one stone. All right, it's not gonna let me share. That's annoying. It's not gonna let me share this photo. Let me just try one more thing and then I'll be done. If you have any comments, feel free to share the comments. I know there's kind of a discussion about McCarrick, but the Francis Church is more than happy to just kind of bury that whole story, and that really bothers me. That really bothers me. It doesn't work. Oh yeah. Okay. All right, and the Byzantines say Christ is risen, and the response is, indeed, he is risen. So that's just one of the things that the Byzantines do. They have like sort of a saying like glory to Jesus Christ, glory to him forever. And then yeah, for Easter it's Christ is risen, and then the people say, like the priest says Christ is risen, and the people say indeed he is risen. Oh man, I can't believe that's not there. Screen sharing was canceled. All right, what do we got? All right, here we go. So, thank you everyone for watching EVTN News. Until next time, we are the laity, and we will not be silent.